Good morning, APTM.
This year marks the 7th successful journey on the Horton River as part of the Inuvialuit Development Corporation-run Arctic Youth Leadership Program. The AYL Expedition Program has the goal of integrating Inuvialuit and Inuit youth. 11 youth, 5 Inuvialuit and 6 Inuit participated in the second fully integrated program, with 2 of the youth acting as peer leaders while undertaking their second journey and receiving advanced leadership training. The IDC and Nunisi Corporation greatly values integrating the 2 groups, as it provides an opportunity for cultural exchange and diversity to leadership training. The program enabled Inuvialuit and Inuit youth to work together in developing effective solutions for mutual challenges, as well as supporting the emergence of an Arctic network for future leaders. The Horton River, as a site to conduct a leadership development program, is very appropriate, as it is a historical place and is rich in resources. In the past, it catered to the Thule, whalers, and traders. Various archaeology sites remain along the river and reflect the variety of inhabitants across time. Today, the Inuvialuit continue to be a human presence in the area. The Horton River itself is a 250-kilometer waterway that allows for remote whitewater canoe expeditions. The river snakes through upper canyons, past tundra plains, and along the Smoking Hills. The name Smoking Hills was gained when searchers were looking for Franklin and his men, when they saw smoke rising, hoping that it was the lost man. Instead, the smoke turned out to be sulfur, lignite, and other materials oxidizing in a slow burn. The river ends near the mouth of Franklin Bay. The setting blends natural scenery and a variety of wildlife. It has become the ultimate destination, drawing in people from all over the world for paddling. The AYL expedition begins at the second half of the Horton River, which is the lower section of the river that passes through the tree line, the tundra, rolling hills, and the Smoking Hills near the ocean, and finishes next to the river's mouth, close to the end of Cape Bathurst. The 2-week expedition begins with a flight with Aklak Air from Inuvik to a gravel bar close to where the Whaleman River flows into the Horton. After assembling the folding alley canoes, participants break into tent and food groups and canoeing partners. After this, the students then head off to the whitewater sections of the Horton River. Along with the canoeing adventure, the students learn aspects of wilderness living that complement their conventional knowledge, leadership skills, communication skills, conflict resolution skills, risk management skills, and backcountry cooking skills. These arrayed categories of skills all meet the primary goals of the AYL program, set by IDC, that of being primarily to teach leadership skills to the participants. By the end of the expedition, the participants are able to understand the intricacies involved with being a part of a team, as well as learning to work as a team member, to plan and achieve goals, and to initiate progressive actions towards achieving their goals. Upon successful completion of the AYL expedition, individual students earn up to 4 credits towards their high school transcript. Each of the year's 11 participants has developed a broader understanding of the natural environment and their relationship with it, and the appreciation for the complexity and diversity contained in the natural world. In the 7 years of providing this leadership opportunity, the Arctic Youth Leadership Program has produced over 100 young Inuvialuit and Inuit graduates. With this well-earned success, the youth are learning new skills to navigate their exciting futures and meet the challenges in their lives.
My name is Mark Hamlin, and I'm the course leader for the National Outdoor Leadership School on the Inuit Native Canoe Expedition.
Could you tell us a little bit about this course and what makes this course in this area unique?
Unique for here, one is the population that we're actually taking out with all native kids from the north and villages across the north. The Horton River is a very remote river. Knowles is known for doing remote rivers, and this is one of the more remote ones that we're actually doing. So those two combination factors are pretty unique in my mind.
The first couple days are pretty daunting for the kids. A lot happens. Can you touch on some of the initial things that you need to teach the kids in the first 2 days?
First 2 days, it's a lot of talking from the Knowles instructors, and it would pull the front of the boat over to that side. But the important things is we need to make people feel comfortable outside. So we need to teach them how to dress and put clothes on properly so that they're layered up against whatever conditions we may find. So we talk a lot about how to be comfortable outside. We have to teach them how to set up their shelters so that they can have adequate shelter. We have to teach them how to cook food. We have to show them how to use the stove. A lot of times we have to show them what kind of food we brought, because the food that we're eating on a camping trip is very different than the food that they would eat at home or even on the land on their own camping trip. So there's a lot to teach them there.
What'd you guys put in your pancakes today?
Chocolate. Flour.
Chocolate chips.
Mosquitoes. What are those?
Muffins.
These are chocolate chip muffins in pancake form.
What'd you put in the pancakes?
Hot chocolate powder.
I love the Knowles food system. Are things in just plain plastic bags on purpose? Because I found that I realized what a commercialized world I live in. I identify food by the label in the box.
Yes.
And I just love the skill that they learn of just taking raw items and making food.
It's surprising how quickly you can learn how to identify the food.
So some things are easy to identify. You know, hey, what's this?
I got some tape with it. Label
Some things are a little bit harder. Some of these like powders. Does anyone know what these are?
No.
Dried beans.
Oh yeah.
Beans. I love beans. These are like your protein power source. That's your margarine in here. This is a lot of peanut butter for 7 days.
And then there's all the technical side. Those were camping skills, but we're also getting on a river, and day one we're on a river with current. And so we have to teach them how to load the canoes. We have to teach them how to paddle the canoes. We have to teach them about risk management and where to be on the river and how to get from side to side. So there's a lot of technical skills that they need to learn. And then they need to learn a lot about the expectations and goals and what they're going to accomplish on this trip. So there's a lot of the leadership and kind of getting their first hands wrapped around that. And then another priority for Knowles is to make sure that these kids are leaving no trace of their passage through this canyon and through this river corridor. And so all of the leave no trace skills, how to dispose of waste properly and how to make sure that they're planning ahead so that they don't bring extra trash into the wilderness that might be lost.
Well, if you can, give yourself more than 6 inches. But some days, like 6 inches would be minimum.
And if you're not really good at aiming, you might want to make it a little wider hole as well.
Right.
So.
But you'll get good at that. Sometimes if there's a tree, I like to prop myself up on a tree, you know? So very important when you're pooping is you definitely don't want to get it on your hands, but it's imperative that you don't get it on the trowel, because the trowel lives in our kitchens. There's
a lot to teach in those first few days. I find that after the first few days are over, and then the students are comfortable living in this environment, that's when it really gets to be fun, because we can go into some of the deeper topics of leadership and judgment and decision making and all of that kind of stuff. But we need to take care of those basic skills first, and it always takes at least the first 3 or 4 days to get people comfortable out here.
We're just going to talk about some pretty essential skills to living comfortably and safely out here on the Horton River. First one we'll talk about is bears, the world of bears. We are traveling in the world of bears. We don't have a rifle with us, so we don't kind of have that ultimate backup tool. So because of that, we want to make sure that we stay nice and safe. We have some defense tools, and we'll go over what we have in a second here. You'll definitely notice how like all our food barrels and canoes are over here by the river, and all our tents are way back over there. Now we didn't do that just, to give you guys some exercise and to make you walk the long distances. Okay, we did that because we want to make sure that anything that smells good or smells at all is away from our tent sites at night, because bears are attracted to that stuff. And if we're keeping a sandwich for the middle of the night in my sleeping bag, then all of a sudden a bear's going to kind of try and find that sandwich in my sleeping bag.
Expectations for the kids on these trips are the same as for any NOLS course that we actually do. So some of the things that we're specifically focusing on with these kids is trying to develop some of their leadership skills. And so leadership skills will fall into one of 4 different roles that we want to have the kids in, and those roles include being leaders of themselves, or self-leadership. And so that's something that we want them to do, to be able to take care of themselves, take care of their own equipment, be sure that they're on time, and looking out for other people in the group. From there, after they get some self-leadership, we want them to be very active followers and follow people and be supportive of other people that are in the leadership role. And the people that are most supportive of those that are in the leadership role, a lot of times those will be the people that will start to do some peer leadership. And they'll actually be members of the group that will kind of support others in the group and help them achieve their goals. And then the 4th leadership role that we'll put people in is a designated leadership role, where we actually put the weight on their shoulders to make the decisions for the day, decide how far we're going to go, decide when we're going to stop for lunch, where camp is going to be set up, and then making sure that our camp is set up the way that we've been teaching them how to set things up. So leadership is going to be our primary goal with these kids for sure.
We decided to camp here, and we didn't want to be on the water while if it's like thunder and lightning. We didn't want to be on the water.
You think it's gonna hit us or pass by?
I think it's gonna hit us.
We want to set up camp before it starts pouring.
The other thing is that NOLS has some goals, and Arctic Youth Leadership has some goals for these kids, but these kids also have some goals. And in reading a lot of their applications for this program, things that they really wanted to focus on is they really want to work on their self-confidence and public speaking skills. And so they'll have a chance to be up in front of the group and speaking and working on those things. They're also really wanting to work on setting goals and learning some skills to follow through with those goals and to do some life planning. So that's important to them as well. And then the other thing that was really important to them was they were all very interested in learning canoeing. I'd say probably over half the group specifically wrote down that they wanted to learn how to canoe. So they go out in boats a lot, but they all have kickers on them, you know, and this is a new skill for them, and they're all pretty excited about learning that. So as much as we have things that we want to accomplish, the kids have things that they want to accomplish too, and it's just as important for us to help them reach their goals as it is for us to achieve our objectives.
I was surprised to see some of the absence of good canoeing skills in these kids. A couple kids going over just the easy rapids, really having a tough time doing 360s. When do you know to step in? When do you know that, okay, that kid's in danger? Is that an easy, I know it's not an easy question.
Oh, it's not as hard as you think. We're pretty keen on identifying where the big hazards are, and so we know if there's big hazards that kids are not ready for, but we also know when there are minimal hazards, and the kids may think it looks scarier than it really is, but we know that nothing too bad is going to happen. They may get a little wet, they may spin around in some circles, but they have to go through that learning process. They have to spin around in some circles. They have to be a little out of control so that it becomes important for them to learn how to control the boat.
There you go. Right on.
If they never had any little scary moments for them, they would never push themselves to learn more. And so we try to let them have those scary moments in places where we know that we can manage that risk very safely.
Push! So we need to guard on that. Is that good?
What do you say, Sensei?
I have to see the mallet.
There's a cribble over there.
Cool.
Oh, that's a nice one.
This is, oat for oatmeal.
Carrots.
This is, these are like pretty fast oats, but they do need a few minutes to cook.
Then we have skim milk powder. So hold on to that. If you feel it, you can feel how it's kind of
mushy and like crunchy.
Crunchy. It makes that noise. Yeah. That's how you know that that's skim milk powder. Generally, what we'll do is we'll make a cooked breakfast, have trail food for lunch. Maybe you guys will eat Teddy Grahams for lunch one day, or in part, and then have a cooked dinner.
And this has to last us until the 23rd.
Next
Saturday.
Today is the 17th, so it's a 7-day ration. Okay.
Doesn't look like much, but it looks.
Yeah, it doesn't look at much, but it's pretty good. We actually packed enough food so everyone can eat almost 2 pounds of food per day. When we do load our boats, we don't want it half in the water, we don't want it half out of the water, but as soon as we're ready to throw our packs in our boat, we'll actually we'll put this boat in the water. This is what's going to take some practice. It's some experimentation. There's no magic formula where everything will fit.
So the bow person is the person that kind of sets the pace, and the stern person will match that pace a little bit.
And what Mark was just saying was that we want to stick the paddle in and pull the boat towards us.
I want people to start thinking about what they would like to accomplish for the rest of the time that we're out here. We all have these goals and things that we're wanting to work on. And what I want to do is I want to ask people some questions about, if those are your goals, what do you need from the group to help you meet those goals? You know, if your goal is to be good at public speaking, you probably don't need people laughing at you and telling you that you're bad at public speaking. So to accomplish our goals, what we need, because we're all wanting to learn, what we need to have is a positive learning environment. Tell you what, I'm going to step around so you can look at the water and I'll look at you. We're going to figure out why rapids happen and why there are waves in the rivers and stuff like that. So there's a couple of things going on with water. One is how much water there actually is. So less water is less powerful, more water is more powerful. And then the other thing is obstacles or constrictions. And one of the things that we think about is if it's wide, it's going to go slower, and if it's narrow, it's going to go faster. Because it gets narrower, the water doesn't have anywhere to go, so it has to go up. And that's what causes waves. Friendly waves have a whole line of them together. More scary waves are just one wave by itself, which is probably saying that there's a rock under there. The other thing that I want people to look at is the shape of the waves. Does everybody see how there's a V shape that goes down? That V, anytime you see a V that is pointing downstream, that's a safe place to go. In addition to the V, there's another water feature called the tongue, or the green water. And if y'all look out here, does everybody see the flattest, greenest water that looks like a V? Yeah. That's what we always want to get our boats on, and we want to ride those Vs, and then we can ride on the friendly waves after we're on that V.
I'll talk briefly about how to swim in a rapid to make sure we're nice and safe. So when we are in a rapid, we always have our PFDs on nice and tight. If you do have it really loose, when you are swimming, or even if you don't have that buckle done up, if you are swimming, all of a sudden it's going to be over your head and you're, hanging out with the rocks on the bottom. I'm going with the current, so the current is pushing me that way. I got my feet downstream, okay? And why do we think we want to do that?
Is there something in front of you straight?
Yeah, in case I'm coming towards a big rock, if my feet are in front of me and I have my knees nice and bent, then I can kind of just catch myself and push myself off the rock, okay? We don't want to have our feet dragging along the bottom. If you do that, something really nasty can happen. It's called being a foot entrapment, and that's no good. Okay, that's basically your feet get caught under a rock. Your feet aren't moving anywhere, but the water's still pushing you. So all of a sudden you're going like this. And you may not be able to get your head above the water. So that's no good. Okay, so that's why we really want to make sure that our feet are on the surface of the water. We're getting our feet as high as we can, and you don't put your feet down until you can like tag the shore. Like you crawl up on shore. You never want to put your feet down in a rapid.